Welcome to Redeeming Thunder and Daughters of Fire. I'm here to give you a fabulous and very critical prophetic word regarding your ordained spouse series. This was given to me on 4/13/2026, chapter 80, part 3. Now, this was given to me through a dream. This will manifest on earth as it is in heaven in September through October. And I'm going to provide you the dream and then the interpretation of the dream. There was a woman who was dressed up in a frilly flamenco black and red trim beautiful gown. The dress had a bunch of embroidered flowers, beautiful colorful flowers. She had a baby girl who was walking, and she also wore the same identical dress to match this mother. The baby represents the Esther mantle. They both walk through the undercover of the elementary school upon the doors opening. They walk through the lobby area. To the side, they stood there by the open space. Music was playing in the background. The baby girl, upon listening to the music, decided to dance, and she began to swirl around. And the mother began to dance with her baby girl in their flamenco dresses. Now she holds her in her arms, twirling her around. And upon twirling around, she gazes upon her surroundings, noticing that there are many people standing around. There's a camera crew, and from a distance she saw her ex. So it could be a counterfeit there. By the table, some other man was standing next to him. They continued to dance. Suddenly the camera crew came towards the mother and the little girl and started filming them and started snapping pictures. Many people started snapping pictures of, and there were a bunch of flashes of camera flash all around. They got very close to her and wanted to film her lips, very close view of her lips. And she did not like that, so she grabbed her baby closer and walked away. The counterfeit was also there, and he was wearing black and red. And so this woman, I noticed, had walked through the library of this elementary school and walked right past the ex, and he looked at him. He looked at her, as if he noticed. Suddenly, they circled around and ended up around through some church pews. So the scenery changed to now they're being in a church where there were pews. And youth were being assigned an assignment. And this woman was joining late to this school project. To the point where when she had joined, the assignment that was being worked on by the group was practically all done. So there were groups that had to connect with her to add her to their group so that she could, and somebody was to call her to add her so that she could have her name placed on the assignment to receive credit for the work that she didn't even plug any effort to do because she had joined the assignment late. So she was going to get credit for something that she didn't even do. So that way she doesn't get so she doesn't get 0 points for, or less points for doing her assignment all by herself. Okay? Because it's a group required assignment, she had to join a group. She thought it was very kind and helpful that, and kind of felt guilty in a way that she was receiving much kindness and credit for a job that she didn't even do or partake in at all. When I noticed that she just felt kind of bad that she did not contribute at all. So she told the group, hey, I'll get back to you. And she had left and walked out of the building. Now she was back at the elementary school, and she had sat at a table. It was a rectangular table where she saw somebody that could have been a past enemy of her life. And there were other people at that table that she didn't recognize. And she received a phone call from somebody else in that moment, from that university, that stated that she could be added to their group, to put her name on the assignment so that she could gain points for that class assignment. And she stated, oh, thank you, that's very kind. I didn't get a chance to work on the assignment, but and the woman cut her off and said, no worries, we'll just put your name on it. And then this woman with the flamenco dress asked, who are you? What's your name? She wanted to genuinely thank her, right? So she's trying to imagine who she has met, who was trying to help her. Suddenly, the snarky lady at the table mentions, they're just doing that because they like you and they know that someone else likes you. It's just this pharaoh, so a king on this earth, okay? Someone that has status, prestige, a kingdom, okay? And he would choose you if you choose him. So she's saying these comments, and it sounds almost like she's a little bit envious and jealous that this lady with this flamenco dress is getting automatically chosen and received well, when they just barely being acquainted, right? Reacquainted. And the lady with the flamenco dress states almost with certainty, and almost like if she kind of already has an inkling, hint that she's like, oh yeah, that guy. Like she knows that could possibly be true. And she states with a fact of the matter, I know he would choose me. Just confirming that she knows that he's into her. Because she said it with such certainty, this lady that was at the table became all the more snarky. And now she wants to go and alert the X, which is the counterfeit, of somebody being into the lady that is wearing the flamenco dress. Trying to cause some drama, I suppose. The lady in the flamenco dress, she goes to the bathroom. When someone goes into the bathroom in the dream, that has a lot to do with deliverance. Okay? And she notices when she enters the bathroom, looks kind of fancy in there. There's some brown tiles all around. It looked like wooden brown tiles. Okay, so the toilet was it was a large bathroom, one bathroom, no stalls. You open up the door and there it is. And there was a sparkly red purse with red beads and a gold clasp, which was her purse, and it was sitting right next to the toilet. And it was opened a bit. And what's interesting is that she had left it near the sink. And she was going to come back later, but she noticed it was near the toilet when she came back. So she felt like somebody went through it. She got up from the table because she felt like it wasn't her group, especially with the snarky lady there. And she hadn't made a decision on what group she was going to join for that assignment. So she got up and began, and because she saw some rock climbing from a distance, from sitting at the table, she walked over there. She's now standing right in front of the rock climbing wall, watching these people climb up and down the mountain, and she was in her dress, okay? She stood there, and suddenly, to her left, she saw the potential king, ordained spouse, standing there with dark blue shirt and a dark gray cargo pants and black boots. These colors are symbolic as well. So the eye color is also symbolic. So bluish green eyes. And she just watched him assisting, okay? Other people climbed the mountain suddenly, and it looked like it was outside. So once they get to the top, you could see sky. And it could have been a portal now that I think about it, because we were inside the building, but when they got to the top, then it was, you could see it, sky with clouds. So suddenly he asks her, "Do you want to climb?" And she says, "Yeah, I actually do." She's like, "Is it okay to climb if I can attempt?" And he says, "I'll help you." So he straps her up with the mountain climbing gear, right? Clips the straps around her waist and then gave her the rope. There are two others in front, and then there were people standing around climbing besides. So two people were climbing besides on either side. And she held on, and he said, "Okay, hold on." And it's like we pull the rope and it has some spring to it. And when we let go, we let go with our hands. We just stopped pulling, and somehow we elevated all the way up close to the top of the mountain. Now I'm saying we because I'm sort of like flying in the air with them to the side, watching this entire thing spring forth. And that startled her quite a bit, because as it was like a bungee springy rope. They'd pull a little bit and then they would spring up. And she's never been rock climbing in real life, so this was like the closest thing to it. So, but this individual was skilled in this area, so that made her feel a little bit more confident that this is safe to proceed with learning this skill. They didn't let go with their hands, they just let go with pulling it. And as they kind of startled her quite a bit, because she noticed that they elevated way up close to the top of the mountain, quite much in advance. And she looked around and she's like, "Wait a minute, I thought we were going to climb like the others." And he says, "Okay, everything's fine." I'm like, "But wait a minute, are you strapped?" And she noticed that he was not strapped. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're not strapped." And she's getting worried because I'm like, she said, you don't have anything strapped around you." He doesn't have any harness or any straps or any clips. He keeps saying, that's okay, everything is fine, I'm fine. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Meanwhile, he is holding onto her waist the entire time, not squeezing, which is holding on. And he has his feet on the mountain cliff. And she is now having a super duper adrenaline rush at this point, as he has his feet on the mountain cliff, okay? Looking straight, but then also looking at him, like really quickly, looking back, being like, he's not strapped, okay? Because now they're way up high, and it's very immensely high, like 100 feet high. And now she's looking at her hands, and she's holding onto this rope that now looks like a regular rope. It doesn't look like a springy rope, and her feet are just planted on the rock because there's a cheesecloth mesh fabric coated dangling at the top. I think you're supposed to pull it or something. The huge mountain cliff, and she cannot see where the grooves are at. She cannot see where her feet are planted to put her feet in the next section of the grooves, okay? And he's like, so he puts his foot in a groove. He can certainly see where he's going. This entire time, she is having this panic adrenaline rush, which doesn't feel secure. And she couldn't see where he said to go look and put her feet, put her feet. So they were so high up, and she could see the top concrete top where the rope was installed and clipped. And she could see the blue sky and the clouds. And he says, I can't see where they were. And he says, right there. Then put your foot in the other one. And then he's basically guiding her. He's like, does that feel better? And she says, I don't know if it feels like my ankle's kind of weak. It feels like it's not sturdy, you know? And she keeps thinking about him, that he may fall because he's not strapped. He doesn't have any harness. She's like, how is he being held up? Okay? So now she's getting a little bit dizzy, but she's like wondering if he has supernatural strength, because how is he being held up? Okay, so now I guess she has a phone, and she puts it in one of the grooves. Then she puts her hands and holds onto the rope again. But her hands feel like, even though she's holding on as tight as she can, there's not a good grip there. There could be carpal tunnel, okay, syndrome going on, and she doesn't feel that she can hold on tight enough, which is making her all the more nervous, because she's now supporting both of them to get up there and stay up there. And how can she? With now she's not holding, she can't even squeeze tight enough on the rope. And here he is, the one holding onto her waist. She feels like a bunch of pressure on her shoulders. And he's not holding onto the rope. So she's getting very worried, because he's only holding onto her waist. And she feels like her own strength is not enough to support them. And so now she said, I'm not holding on that tight. I'm trying to, but I can't, because of the carpal tunnel. So they decided to get down, and he says, okay, you're going to jump. I'm going to jump with you. Then we're going to land further down. And then you're going to do another jump, and it's going to push us out and away from the mountain, and then we're going to land back on it. And then we're going to be close to the ground after that. And so we began to do that, and we were down and landed safely. And he asked, do you want to try that again? And I said, or she said, yes, I do actually. And so he held on to the waist, and then she held on to the rope, and they were both sprung up, way up to the top again. She looked to the left, and she sees somebody climbing up. They tapped the top of the cliff, and it's a flat concrete top. And to the right, as she looks, someone taps it, and they start making their way down. And she really wants to tap it. She wants to let go of the rope for a split second so she can tap it. Again, there's this piece of cheesecloth just dangling there. And that's interesting because it's in the middle section of the mountain. So she cannot... Oh, there's a humongous piece of cheesecloth layered on top of the mountain, so she can't see where any of the grooves are at to put her feet in. People that were climbing beside her, there wasn't any cheesecloth covering any of the mountain, so they were able to just slip their foot in the grooves and climb up quite rapidly. And she really wanted to let go really quick to tap the top of the cliff as they were all the way to the top. She looks up, she could see the blue sky with the white clouds, and saw the cliff. She saw the clip of the middle clip where the rope was clipped at, the middle bracket, holding the rope and the harness. And she stood there on the mountain, desiring to tap it, but then didn't. And she didn't want to let go of the rope because her hands, again, with the carpal tunnel, felt so weak. She felt if just one hand held onto that, and she felt very responsible for the life of the potential king, ordained spouse, holding on her waist right behind her. She just did not, because she felt her hand, her grip was so weak with the carpal tunnel. Okay? I'm done. And she felt like everything was going to let go and they were going to fall down. So as they were going down, he embraced her again as they were on the cliff, holding her up without having a strapped harness. She felt the entire adrenaline rush, and so now they're going to be going down again. So now they're jumping back down, 2 jumps down, and it's with a springy rope, and it allows for a smooth de-escalation. And then they landed. After that, she decided to go to the bathroom to go get her purse. When she walked in the bathroom, there were several women in there, and there was that lady that was talking to her in there. There was a lady who wore a light yellow dress, and she had blondish hair. The counterfeit was holding the baby that she had, and suddenly she saw him without his shirt, which was interesting in a women's bathroom. It just looked all the more sketch that her ex didn't have a shirt on, with a bunch of women in there holding the baby. And all these women were just watching him, and it just was kind of sketch. He suddenly sees the lady with the flamenco dress, and she tries to explain why he has his shirt off, and he's saying he's trying to cover his sister because she needs to go to get dressed, and she needs a curtain, and he doesn't have a curtain or any. It's a one stall bathroom, right? So he's using his clothes as a curtain to cover her so she can change her clothes.
That's so funny, Mom. So he's helping her?
So this woman walks out of the bathroom as she grabs her purse. She just thinks that it just looks so ridiculous. Okay, so now a next scene she's gonna walk and sit down by some pews, and she sees the counterfeit, the ex, and the other woman with the yellow dress sitting next to each other. He didn't notice that the woman with the flamenco dress, his ex, was there. And he says to the woman with the yellow dress, she thinks I'm trying in the relationship, but I'm really not. I already moved on. And and the woman in the yellow dress is intently listening to him speak about. So apparently it seems like the ex, the counterfeit, was pretending to try again to convince her that she is that they're going to get back together. Okay, but it was all a scheme. Okay, and the baby and the woman here are all wearing black and red, recalling. So the lady in the flamenco dress noticed that comment, and it kind of disheartened her, because she thought they were trying to at least work as a team. Okay, not even as a couple, but at least as a team. And so even she's already moved on, but she just wants to work at least as a co-parenting team. He's trying to act all surprised now that he never stated that, okay? Like he just saw her just now. And both of them are just agreeing and giggling. So she walks down the main walkway, and now she looks at him, she glances over at the counterfeit, and she begins to pray. She begins to pray quite with intent. So now, as she is greatly disappointed and saddened that it's always this dismissive, avoidant characteristics, she walks down a few more rows, and then she sits by herself again. So still on the solo journey, okay, towards the promised land. The music begins as the event is about to start. And there is this other woman that's sitting a few rows down, a few seats down to the left. And it's this famous artist. And she looks at her, the woman with the flamenco dress, and she says, she is kind of, the music is so loud, she's trying to read this woman's lips at this point, but she knows she's intently talking to her, okay? But basically what she was able to understand is, what are you doing? You can't stay stagnant here. You need to follow your dreams. You need to go after your dreams. You need to follow your heart. You need to go find him. So she got up and she walked down, and then she went through a door, and she was going to go look for the man, and she decided to stop by the bathroom again, because she actually really needed to go this time. And she noticed that there's a purse, and her purse is placed near the toilet. And the bathroom looks clean, which is essential in a dream, for a bathroom to be clean and you to be able to go and release yourself. So she gets her purse she uses the bathroom, and at this point there are no walls. There's just like a one-stall bathroom, right? So there's no walls. In other words, there's only one toilet in the middle of the bathroom. And somebody comes in as she is sitting on the toilet going to the bathroom. And this time she was able to go to the bathroom. It seems interesting that there was a line initially to use the bathroom, but she just walked in and she was able to go first. So she didn't have to wait. So she is using the bathroom privately, even though there could possibly be other toilets in the bathroom on the other side. But somebody comes and walks and sits right next to her. Now she is wearing an entirely different dress within the bathroom setting, as in the scene changed in that moment, which means a new mindset, okay? Getting delivered from the old past mindset. This dress is velvet. And then this person says, you need to look at this. It's outside. There's a TV. And she says, okay, I'll be right there. I'm almost done. As she, goes, obviously she washes her hands. She goes to the bathroom, right? So she exits the bathroom. And there's a big screen TV on the wall with celebrity news. And it had snapped short recordings of when she was dancing with her baby girl. And short clips of all to see in every so there was TVs everywhere. So somebody was broadcasting false news about this woman with the flamenco, the one that originally had the flamenco dress, now has the velvet dress, and it was about her. And they had put two other women beside her in a conversation, kind of insinuating that she was in some kind of, that LGBTQ community, which was false news. Okay? They've had put additional false news that she likes to argue with her ex all the time. So they had put her speak as she was with no volume, just looking serious and speaking to her ex. Okay? So she's just looking, and she's stunned at this news of this false allegations about her. And when she began to speak, she spoke in the spirit. And somehow she stated that she knew that this was going to happen because she knew the future. She saw the future. And she knew who had been the one who defamed her character and made up these stories about her with this new group. He was the one that had become jealous because she decided not to partake and be in his group or allow this person to assist her. And it was a massage therapist who she did not want to receive massages from a man. She preferred a woman who was trained in the area to heal the area where she needed more privacy. So he was angry that he was excluded from her healing journey. So then he began to display stories about her that were false, because she was friendly with the other women at the location where they all were located at, and he did not have that personal relationship with this woman as all the other people did. Well, she bonded with the other women that were becoming her friends, and he was feeling left out. And she felt a vibe by him, and that's why she kept her distance. Either way, he had made these falsehoods about her. So either way, that was the dream. But either way, when you feel a vibe towards someone that is untrustworthy, you need to go with that vibe and do not mingle and share your personal details, because this prophetic word is stating a whole bunch. But just in this last piece itself, this new place where you're going to start going to in the month of August through October, okay? You're going to need to set boundaries and not display your entire life story to people, because there are monitoring spirits, okay? And somehow you're going to be sort of famous in a way. You're sort of going to be on the spotlight. If you notice, when there was cameras and there was people taking photos, and then she was on TV, okay, you're sort of going to be on display. So you want to keep your life quite private, because there's going to be one individual who's going to be jealous, and because you set boundaries, because you already felt that vibe that they are not good news, okay? They got some weird aura, non-sincere, okay? You already set your boundaries. That's the individual that is going to try to twist the story, the narrative, okay? Now, in this moment, you're praying about this, and you're going to bind the enemy, and you're going to confound the enemy, because this is in the future, so that you can disrupt the dimensions of time, and you can block the enemy's plans before it occurs, okay? Because you have the power, the authority to be able to do so. So we're going to pray in the spirit, and then I'm going to tell you the vision that I received upon praying in the spirit regarding blocking the enemy's plans for your new breakthrough, okay? With your new breakthrough, you don't want any discrepancies, anybody distorting your progress and prosperity, okay? So, in the name of Yahusha, we block and confound the enemy. We blind the eyes of the enemy. We sabotage all monitoring spirits, all witchcraft. We destroy by fire all words of the enemy that provide confusion and lies and defamation of character. We burn it by fire in the name of Yahusha. Shala ti ama atika ashikayi apa sorokoshi didika shata samaka tikayi kasharaba dididika shatala kayama ayabaka sikika shama komokoshi ali aba atika sama akika kasama kasika yaba shoko 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 mikapa akashi ala 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 sharaka shamaka. Aman. After praying in the spirit, I saw a vision of this individual, the exact individual that the Most High showed me that wants to come and destroy, had a brown bag over his head. There was tiny holes, so he could barely see. No peripheral vision could he see, because there was only tiny peepholes at the front of the brown bag over his head, and he was beginning to bump into a wall over and over again. And he could not continue to walk straight, because all he was doing was bumping into the wall. He also had been placed headphones so that he could also not hear anything of that revolves around your life. So the enemy has silenced and blinded the enemy. The Heavenly Father has silenced and blinded the enemy. Hallelujah. Thank you, Yahuwah, for your divine protection. Send your angels of protection. Amma Shama. So, I want to break down the interpretation of this dream. A man rock climbing a mountain without a harness and straps. He only is holding onto a woman's waist for support, and she has a harness and straps on. Okay, as she's feeling kind of worried that he doesn't have it, right? Yet he's not falling. This symbolizes a journey of spiritual elevation, contrasting human anxiety and self-reliance with divine or steady, unshakable support. The mountain represents a major life trial or spiritual ascent. The woman's harness reflects cautious preparation and human safeguards, and the steady, unfallen man without a gear signifies profound inner strength, faith, or a guardian presence. The biblical symbol for a high place of testing, prayer, and a transition to a new level of spiritual maturity. The woman's harness and worry represents your or her caution, reliance on visible rules, and fear of the unknown or unprotected paths. Looking back, worried shows a natural human doubt when facing high-stakes changes. The unfazed man symbolizes ultimate composure, radical faith, or an anchor who does not need traditional systems because he possesses innate ability and power, or innate stability and power. Holding the waist signifies core support, guidance, and intimate partnership during a difficult climb. He is steady enough to bear weight and direct movement up and down safely. So, at the same time, there was a negative feeling of an adrenaline rush with a lot of anxiety. Okay, so I feel this to be in a negative sense, not stable, because she felt she was the only one holding on to that relationship and the stability and security of it, if you understand. He looks stable, but again, she didn't let go to touch the top of the mountain cliff, right? Her hands didn't feel strong enough. So it could be that there's some divine support. Maybe he is praying for her. Maybe he is, he's praying for her. So the dream where she says you need to go find him, that part where she talks to somebody in the pews and she says you need to go find him, she does walk back. And she walks past the group of people that accepted her for that school project at the university. And then she walks past that table and she goes back to the mountain climbing section. And she asks him if she can climb again. And he says yes. Okay, now I want to interpret the segment regarding the kind Pharaoh man. I'm talking about the Pharaoh king who allowed her to join the group for the school project. He placed her name on everything, even though she had just joined this group and hadn't done any work yet. He placed her name to allow her to feel welcomed and receive credit for the completed school project. Someone stated that this king, Pharaoh man, would choose her, as in he already loves her, already likes her so much, okay? In that moment, she had stated that she knows that he would choose her. As in, she has some kind of recollection of his interest. And he had placed her name on the assignment to allow her to receive credit for the completed school project. Okay? So, the biblical symbolism of this reflects unearned grace, being chosen, an underlying attitude of pride or self-reliance, because she stated that, oh, I know he likes me. Almost not discounting it, but sort of just acknowledging it. And that might have sounded smirky just by acknowledging it, but she was not trying to sound smirky. She was just trying to say, as a matter of fact, I know this detail. Okay? So now, in regards to unearned inclusion points to unmerited favor, much like Joseph elevated second chances in Egypt. So it was significant that it had been a pharaoh, an Egyptian man. Why? Because it's elaborating in regards to the Joseph mantle. Somebody recognized this woman, Joseph's mantle, on her life, and already put her at the top, gave her unmerited favor, okay? Unearned inclusion, instantly. That's what's going to happen to you. It's going to be a Joseph pit to the palace scenario. Confirmation word here, as this prophetic word was given in chapter 76 or so, between 76 and 78, and now we're on chapter 80, and it's stating it again, that the Joseph mantle recognition is occurring in your life. Hallelujah. Okay, so having your name recorded without doing the work mirrors the spiritual concept of grace or being written in a book of records, purely by another mercy, not by your own works. So the kind of comparing to the book of life. That this is where you need to be careful, because the smirky remark and or boastful response, I know he would choose me, quote unquote, exposes pride. It also exposes self-confidence, which she was trying to display confidence in that. But it could display lack of humility regarding a gift or favor you didn't actually work to get, and you are receiving an unexpected breakthrough or an inclusion in waking life that you feel you didn't earn. So that's the takeaway. Okay, so just be careful that you stay humble, in other words, and not prideful, right? Because the Joseph mantle comes with a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of accuracy, wisdom, knowledge, and intimate relationship with the Most High even still. Also, this person acknowledges who you are, puts you in high regard. Do not take his kindness and even his love for you for granted. Okay? So there is a King Pharaoh that's going to show you much favor and grace. He's going to lift you up. He's going to elevate you. And it's going to feel peaceful, not with an adrenaline rush. Not confusing. It's immediate and concrete, and it's secure. And the entire group is welcoming you. It's almost like if they can see that you are a queen. And you know what's all the more confirming is that in real life, this other woman that has reached out to me stated that she was encountering a group that was already calling her a queen. She just walked in the room and they already knew she was a queen. They already saw her as prestigious and glamorous. They already saw her like a queen diva, like a feminine queen baddie. They immediately showed her favor and grace, quite literally, in real life. And now that she's encountering this this opportunity to join a group in her real life, they are still showing her that favor and grace and full of acceptance and welcoming with open arms. Do you know what I'm saying? These dreams are not, they're not wishful thinking. It's literally happening in real life. And now you're going to see the part manifest where King Pharaoh recognizes your Joseph mantle. Okay? And rises you up as part of the team already. Just by existing. Just by entering the room. And there's going to be a phone call. That's a fact of the matter. Okay? And it's not going to feel nerve-wracking. It's not going to feel adrenaline rush of where you stand. It's not going to feel worried. But in the dream, this woman was partially, she wasn't sure if she wanted to be part of that group or she still wanted to go over there where the rock climbing was at. So she had taken a step away. And I guess in your life journey, when you are encountering kindness and love and true love and stuff like that, sometimes when one's not healed, you think that the chaotic love and the adrenaline rush love is true love. But really, it's actually unstable. It's not secure. Because she felt weak, and somehow in his embrace she still wasn't gathering strength because she still felt she couldn't see the steps, and he's telling her where to step, but it didn't feel like she had any say as they were climbing, even though they elevated so high up in intimacy in their conversations. It didn't feel that secure. She felt worried all the while because it's like the elevation was only in his hands. The narrative of the entire thing was only in his hands. And she had all these questions, but he would say, just do this, just do that. And she saw that, okay, it kind of worked out. You know, they got down safely and everything. They rised up safely. But the entire time it felt chaotic and it felt like an adrenaline rush. And really, it shouldn't feel like that. You shouldn't always feel so anxious and nervous. It's like an anxious and nervous attachment. It doesn't feel healthy. It feels nerve-wracking. Right? And maybe because you've been in relationships where they caused it was chaos and nerve-wracking all the time. And it was a lot of, you want to be in a secure attachment where you're feeling welcomed and loved and received well. So now you're in the process of returning back to what felt secure and safe, and what felt received well. You have passed the test of being in humility. The volunteer work was part of the process of being humbled and in lowly state. And now the Most High is transitioning you to a new group at the table who's available for you to join. And the project is already done. They're just going to place your name on it. You're just going to earn credit and earn merit. It's going to be divine favor from above on this earth as it is in heaven. You're going to experience an entirely different chapter of your life of joy and peace and received well. And it's people that know who you really are, your authentic self, and they receive you well. And they know that you're a queen. Shalom.